Toyota didn't just buy a sponsorship, they bought a soul. And they paid in yen. That is the rumor floating around the Banbury factory floor right now. And let me tell you, when the mechanics start whispering about soul selling, you know we have crossed into dangerous territory. Because this isn't a partnership, this isn't a collaboration. This is Toyota walking into Haas's headquarters, looking around at the crumbling infrastructure, the borrowed Ferrari simulators, the rented wind tunnel time, and saying, "Pathetic, we'll take it from here." And Haas said, "Thank you, Daddy." Welcome back to our channel, and today, we are ripping the lid off the hostile technical takeover Toyota just executed at Haas Banbury HQ. And trust me, the backstabbing runs deeper than a Mercedes power unit penalty. The time has come for the next generation to take their first steps toward the world stage. Those weren't my words. Those were the words of Akio Toyoda himself, the chairman of Toyota Motor Corporation, the man who single-handedly dragged Toyota back into motorsport after they got humiliated in Formula One and ran away with their tails between their legs in 2009. And now he's back. But he's not coming back as a humble contributor. Oh no, he's coming back as a conqueror. He's coming back as a savior. He's coming back as the man who finally gives Haas the technical infrastructure they have been begging for since 2016. But at what cost? Let me paint you a picture of what actually happened here. On December 4th, 2025, Haas dropped a bombshell that made the entire paddock choke on their espresso. Toyota Gazoo Racing officially became the title sponsor of Haas Formula One team. MoneyGram, that digital payment company that nobody really cared about, got erased from the entry list like they never existed. The team will now race as TGR Haas F1 team. But here is where the gossip gets spicy. This wasn't just a branding exercise. This wasn't just Toyota writing a check and slapping their logo on the side pods. This was a full-scale technical infiltration, a hostile takeover dressed up in a pretty sponsorship bow. We are talking about Toyota engineers now embedded inside Haas's Banbury facility. We are talking about Toyota taking over Haas's testing of previous car program entirely. We are talking about the installation of Haas's first ever personal Formula One simulator at their UK base, a machine that will finally cut their embarrassing dependency on Ferrari's Maranello facility. For 10 years, Haas has been Ferrari's little brother, the annoying little sibling that borrows your clothes, eats your food, and never pays rent. They used Ferrari power units. They used Ferrari gearboxes. They used Ferrari's simulator. They used Ferrari's wind tunnel. Every single technical crutch came from Maranello. And now, a Japanese giant just walked into Banbury, looked Ferrari dead in the eye, and said, "We got this, go home." And the scariest part? Haas team principal Ayao Komatsu, the man who replaced Günther Steiner, is absolutely thrilled about it. "It's naturally a privilege to deepen our relationship with TGR through this new title partnership agreement," Komatsu said. "Our working relationship to date has been everything we hoped it would be." Everything you hoped it would be? Ayao, mate, you just handed the keys to your kingdom to a corporation that hasn't been in Formula One since 2009. A company that spent 8 mediocre seasons as a works team, won absolutely nothing, and then packed up and went home in disgrace. And now you're welcoming them back with open arms like they're the second coming of Nui? This isn't Toyota's first rodeo with Haas. The seeds of this takeover were planted way back in October 2024. That's when Toyota first signed a multi-year technical partnership with the American squad. At the time, everyone thought it was just a nice little collaboration. Some engineering exchange, a bit of driver development, no big deal. Oh, how naive we were. Because behind the scenes, Toyota was playing the long game. They weren't just sharing expertise, they were building infrastructure. They were embedding personnel. They were creating a pipeline so deep that by the time 2026 rolled around, Haas wouldn't be able to function without them. Think about what Toyota has done in just 14 months. They created Haas's first ever TPC program, testing of previous car, which ran across 14 days in 2025 using the VF23. Japanese drivers like Ryo Hirakawa, Ritomo Miyata, Sho Tsuboi, and even the legendary Kamui Kobayashi all got seat time through TGR associations. That's not just testing. That's Toyota putting their own people inside Haas machinery. They appointed Pierre Genon, a former Renault and Alpine engineer, as a dedicated Toyota project manager to act as the link between Banbury and Toyota Gazoo Racing in Cologne, a specially created role, a position that didn't exist before Toyota showed up. And now, that man is the gatekeeper between Haas and their new Japanese overlords. They are financing and staffing the entire TGR Haas driver development program, which officially launches in 2026. Toyota engineers, Toyota mechanics, Toyota drivers, all getting invaluable Formula One experience without Toyota having to commit to a full works team. And now the crown jewel, the simulator. Komatsu revealed that Haas will have its own Formula One simulator up and running at Banbury by May or June of 2026. And here is the kicker. Toyota already has another simulator in Epsom that they are using for proof-of-concept model integration in parallel. So when that Banbury machine gets installed, it's ready to go, immediately. For 10 years, Haas engineers had to travel to Maranello, Italy, just to use a simulator. Limited days, logistical nightmares, engineering teams based in the UK having to fly to Italy to do their jobs. That is soul-destroying inefficiency. That is the kind of handicap that makes you want to tear your hair out. And now they have their own machine, in their own building, in Banbury, all thanks to Toyota. But here is the question nobody is asking. The question that should keep every Haas employee awake at night. The question that makes this the juiciest gossip in the entire paddock. Who actually controls that simulator? Who decides what software runs on it, what data gets collected, and how that data gets used? Toyota did not pour millions into this project just to be nice. This is a corporate invasion. Toyota planting its flag in British soil and daring anyone to stop it. Because Toyota isn't just helping Haas. Toyota is positioning itself for a full-scale return to Formula One. They are using Haas as a testing ground, as a proving ground, as a development laboratory for their own future ambitions. Masaya Kaji, Toyota's director of global motorsport, basically admitted it. We're studying the technologies for 2026, and even the current technologies, he said. I feel we are gradually moving in that direction. But taking over a Formula One team's technical operations hardly looks gradual. And the paddock is watching. Esteban Ocon, Haas's experienced French driver, is singing Toyota's praises like they just invented racing itself. I really enjoy working with Toyota, Ocon said. They treat us with great respect, they have serious goals, and they have a real passion for racing. Toyota are basically all about cars. But this is not just about passion. It is about control, power, and redemption after Toyota's humiliating 2009 exit. It is pursuing that redemption by methodically taking over Haas from the inside. Ferrari. Because Haas still uses Ferrari power units. They have a deal through 2028. The VF26, which will be unveiled on January 23, 2026, is still Ferrari-powered. So right now, Haas is caught in this bizarre love triangle. Ferrari supplies the engine. Toyota supplies everything else. And somewhere in the middle, Haas is trying to figure out who their real daddy is. Haas is also still using Ferrari's wind tunnel. Komatsu called it a win-win situation, but once the Banbury simulator comes online and Toyota's Cologne wind tunnel becomes more accessible, Haas may need Ferrari for little beyond that red V6. The relationship could become very awkward. Ferrari and Toyota engineers, representing two major manufacturers and different working cultures, will compete for influence inside a team with barely 200 employees. And let's not forget the cost cap. The 2026 budget cap is set at $215 million, excluding driver salaries and top earners. And guess what? Haas can't even reach that limit. Komatsu admitted it himself. They're the only team on the grid that can't spend up to the cap. They're fighting with both hands tied behind their back. So what does Toyota do? They swoop in with resources, with personnel, with infrastructure. They fill the gaps that Haas's limited budget can't cover. And in doing so, they become indispensable. They become the oxygen that Haas needs to breathe. They become the lifeline that Haas cannot survive without. This is textbook corporate infiltration. Become so essential that the target cannot function without you. That does not mean Haas gains nothing from the arrangement. The simulator, testing program, personnel, and driver pathway solve problems the team could never afford to fix alone. These resources could improve development speed, sharpen correlation between track and factory data, and give Ocon and Behrman useful preparation. For a team unable to reach the budget cap, Toyota offers a route towards stronger midfield results. That is why the deal is so tempting. The danger is not the support itself, but the dependency it creates. Every improvement makes Toyota more valuable. while every new Toyota-controlled system makes Haas less capable of walking away. Because this isn't just about Haas. This is about the entire Formula One landscape. Toyota, a manufacturer that walked away from the sport in disgrace, is now back. And they're not back as a humble technical partner. They're back as a silent partner, with a very loud voice. The team is now called TGR Haas F1 Team. Toyota Gazoo Racing's branding is all over the VF26. Toyota drivers are getting Formula One seat time. Toyota engineers are learning the secrets of F1 aerodynamics. Toyota is building a talent pipeline that will eventually feed into something much bigger. And when that something bigger arrives, when Toyota decides to go full works team again, what happens to Haas then? Do they become Toyota's B team? Do they become a junior outfit like AlphaTauri to Red Bull? Do they get swallowed whole and spit out as a Toyota factory operation? These are legitimate questions every Haas fan should be asking. Because let's look at the history. Toyota spent 8 years in Formula One as a works team. They spent billions. They had state-of-the-art facilities in Cologne. They had some of the best engineers in the sport. And they achieved absolutely nothing. 0 wins, 0 championships, just disappointment and embarrassment. Now they're back. But they're not making the same mistake twice. This time, they're playing the long game. This time, they're building relationships before they build engines. This time, they're embedding themselves inside an existing team before they even think about going solo. And Haas? Haas is the perfect vehicle. Small enough to be controlled. Desperate enough to accept any help. American enough to give Toyota a foothold in a market they desperately want to penetrate. Haas fans should be worried. When a corporation this big becomes deeply involved, a team risks becoming a subsidiary, development program, and testing ground for someone else's ambitions. Look at Sauber. It became Alfa Romeo, then Audi, and now exists to serve a larger corporation. Force India became Racing Point and then Aston Martin, reshaped around Lawrence Stroll's ambitions. Haas is next, and the puppet master isn't an Italian billionaire or a German automaker. It's a Japanese giant with a chip on its shoulder and a hunger for redemption. Akio Toyoda said it himself. The time has come for the next generation to take their first steps toward the world stage. The world stage, not Haas's stage, not Banbury's stage. The world stage, Toyota's stage. This is a hostile technical takeover disguised as a sponsorship deal, and Haas willingly opened the doors. Now Toyota engineers are walking the halls of Banbury. Toyota managers are making decisions about Haas's technical direction. Toyota drivers are sitting in Haas's cars. Toyota's logo is on Haas's nose cone. In Maranello, Ferrari must be watching with concern as its American partner embraces a richer, more ambitious ally that may eventually want the whole playground. So what happens next? The 2026 season is going to be fascinating. Haas will have a new car, the VF26. They'll have new drivers in Esteban Ocon and Oliver Bearman. They'll have a new title sponsor in Toyota. They'll have a new simulator in Banbury. They'll have Toyota engineers in their wind tunnel. They'll have Toyota's influence everywhere. But will they have their identity? Will they have their independence? Will they have their soul? When a corporation like Toyota moves, it conquers, absorbs, and consumes. Haas may be its next meal. Toyota is officially back in Formula One. But they're not back as a constructor. They're not back as an engine supplier. They're back as a silent partner, with a very loud voice and very deep pockets. And if you think this is just about helping Haas compete in the midfield, you haven't been paying attention. This is about Toyota's redemption, and finally getting what it could not secure in 8 years of trying. A seat at the table, a foothold in the sport, a path to the top. And Haas? Haas is just the vehicle. Are you excited about this partnership? Or are you terrified of what it means for Haas's future? Is this the beginning of a beautiful friendship between two teams that will conquer the midfield together? Or is this the beginning of the end for Haas as an independent team? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, smash that like button if you think Toyota just played the smartest game of corporate chess we've seen in Formula One since Lawrence Stroll bought Racing Point. Toyota is back, and they're not leaving this time. The hostile technical takeover of Haas Banbury HQ is complete. The Japanese flag is flying over Oxfordshire. And the only question left is, what happens when Toyota decides they want the whole team? Because they will. Subscribe now and stay with us. Because if this partnership explodes into a full Toyota takeover, you'll want to witness every twist, conflict, and shocking move. Toyota has finally begun to move, and God help anyone standing in their way.